XQC, I'm sure you saw it, was in a debate slash conversation with Hasan and Pokimane. And we gave you XQC side. You answered that. And I think a lot of the community is going to appreciate that answer. We'll see how that gets chopped up. The opposite side of that, coming from Pokimane and Hasan, it seemed like they just couldn't believe that in this current streaming platform world, they can't believe that Kick can actually make it to be a sustainable and outlasting competitor to Twitch in this marketplace, and somehow be sustainable without integrating gambling in some form or fashion. They compare this to Twitch, where they are currently. I'm sure taking more of those sub splits for themselves. Increased of ads, trying to heavily monetize the platform. Even they struggle to make money. And so, what would your response be to them saying that it might not be possible for Kick to ever be profitable or actually last in this scene without integrating gambling?
Again, I kind of revert back to my previous answer. I think the biggest misconception with live streaming is the expenses associated with it. I think a lot of this probably comes from earlier times, back in 2011, 2012, 2013, when streaming was getting really big. CDNs and the costs of streaming were much higher. Since then, technology's advanced. Streaming costs are getting a little bit more effective. It is becoming easier and easier to do. I don't believe that this whole concept that streaming is really difficult to make profitable is an excuse for companies to start doubling down on like I said, taking donations and forcing an abundance of pre-rolls and whatnot onto people. I think at some point we're not looking at sustainability, we're looking at maximizing profits. That's what I personally think is going on right now. I think there is a situation here whereby if they truly wanted to cut costs, I think there's other ways to do so. I think at this point where we're looking towards something that could almost be borderline, profit maximization. We understand a little bit more about the industry at this point where we're on the same side of the fence. And I think I don't believe it is at all required to make this sustainable. We have a very strong stance in this. By all means, with that being said, it's going to be a tough journey, right? It's going to be a tough journey. We don't expect Kick to be profitable, for at least sort of a 2-3 years as a sustainable entity. Obviously, I'm probably going to get asked about Q1. I'll be first to tell you right now, Q2 is definitely a little bit more complicated. But we do have a roadmap here to have this fully sustainable within the next 3 to 5 years, and I think that's not dissimilar to any tech company. Obviously a company can't just be made one day and be profitable the next. This whole idea that Kick is not profitable, therefore it's not sustainable, it only applies in this live streaming space, which I think is really strange. You enter any other industry and you're not profitable in day one, no one's questioning you. They're like, cool. But in live streaming, it's heavily questioned. And fair enough. I understand, right? There's been other competitors that have come and they've gone, and everyone's kind of continued to question that. But I think that shouldn't set a precedent for the fact that it's not possible to make this work. Again, we've crunched the numbers. We think it can work. We truly do.
But XQC taking on Hasan and Pokey had a lengthy discussion at this, and I know I brought it up previously. But on the other side of things, XQC obviously signing with Kick had an entirely different take. But on the other side, more from Hasan and Pokey, they had criticized, and other people have as well, the Kick platform of what they are saying being directly linked to Stake, because Kick is owned by Stake. And so that side of things, people think that because Stake has ownership in Kick, that they are directly or indirectly influencing users to then go gamble. What would your response be on that?
Well, first and foremost, Kick isn't owned by Stake, as we discussed before. Of course, there is similarities in ownership, so I think it's not fair to dismiss that argument simply because of the fact that one entity doesn't own the other. But I think it's a completely reasonable, concern to have. I completely understand that. I think to answer that question, I think actions speak much louder than words, right? If you go to Kick right now, you're not going to get pre-rolls with Stake ads. You're not going to see that. If you go to any other social media platform, you're going to get a lot more gambling ads than you get on Kick right now. I can assure you right now, you are going to be much more prone to forming a gambling habit through advertisements if you're on another platform. So of course it is an extremely reasonable concern to have, and I think it's a healthy debate to have. But I think as time goes on and people see how we continue to position the platform and prove that we're not here to to funnel people to stake and whatever these assumptions are. And again, they're perfectly reasonable assumptions. And we will continue to prove them wrong as months go by and years go by. People will start to realize, wait a second, this is not what these guys are about. Of course, it was a reasonable theory to begin with, but that is not our goal. We look at Kick as a much bigger project than stake. Right now, I would almost debate that Kick could be valued at a higher amount than stake even. This is bigger than stake. This is a bigger project than stake. Stake was something that listen, I love stake. I've been involved with it now every single day for the last 6 years nearly. It's my baby, right? But Kick will eclipse stake is what we want to look at this as. It is not a funnel to stake or a extension of stake by any means. Stake exists independently of Kick, and Kick will one day hopefully be our main priority. And that is the way we look at this. There is much more business opportunity in making Kick successful than stake. But with that said, I don't want to say we're ever shifting away our focus from stake. Stake is something we is a product that I'm in charge of maintaining, high quality of standards. And I don't want to say for a second that I'm moving away from it. I don't want to worry my stake customers by any sense. But at the same time, Kick is something that will be our primary focus. And it won't be because of the gambling market. It'll be because of the social media market and the value it holds in that regard.